What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Old English Debrief, your daily deep dive into the Detroit Tigers and the wider world of Major League Baseball. It is Friday, February 20th, 2026, and if you've looked at your social media feed all day at all today, you'll know that the Orange Revolution has officially taken over the timeline. There's been a lot of confusion about when and how you can get your hands on these new Tigers alternates, so let's set the record straight. If you're trying to buy these online, you're waiting until Sunday the 22nd. However, the Tigers decided to reward local fans, the D-Shop at Comerica Park, and the team store at Joker Marchant in Lakeland to open their doors at 10 a.m. this morning for an exclusive in-person drop. And the vibe, it's a tale of two cities. On Instagram, it's a total hype fest. The younger crowd's all in on the solid orange look. I'm seeing comments like, finally, the Tigers look like a modern franchise. But if you go over to X, or Twitter, and the traditionalists are guarding the home white jerseys like they're the crown jewels. Saw a post today showing a side-by-side with an Orioles jersey simply captioned, "Who did this?" But here is the detail that everyone is missing. And something that I thought about was what's going to happen to the City Connects. That tire tread look is staying in the rotation for select Mondays. And we're going to, from a team with zero alternates to a team with a deep wardrobe. Whether you love the orange and the navy or you're a home white only purist, you have to admit that Detroit's finally acting like a big market powerhouse and isn't afraid to evolve. In more local other news, we have a interesting report from Jeff Seidel over at the Free Press, and just dropped a story that has opening day implications written all over it. Kevin McGonigle is starting at shortstop tomorrow in the first spring training game against the Yankees, and Alan Trammell, the man whose number 3 hangs on the wall at Comerica, told Seidel, "I love him. Tram doesn't just throw around that, and he's obsessed with McGonigle. He's obsessed with McGonigle's baseball clock, rather. That internal rhythm that allows a kid to slow the game down. McGonigle's 21 and the number 2 baseball prospect, and last year he slashed 305, 408, 583. And if he shows out tomorrow next to Gleyber Torres, the debate over the middle infield is going to get very loud, very fast. We might be looking at the 2026 Rookie of the Year favorite." And continuing on with some Tigers news here, we're going to take a look at Justin Verlander. And to understand why the Tigers were willing to give a 43, not 42 like I said the other day, a 43-year-old $13 million, you have to look at how he finished the season with the San Francisco Giants. The overall record of 4-11 is incredibly misleading, and JV was the victim of some of the worst run support in the National League. In the first half, JV had a 4.99 ERA, a 0-8 record, a strikeout rate of 18.9%, and an opponent batting average of .260. In the second half, however, after July 20th, he had a .260 ERA, a 4-3 record, a 22.8% strikeout rate, and an opponent batting average of .218, which is Cy Young level dominance. And there's a little interesting story that goes back to July 18th, 2025. On this day, Verlander got shelled in Toronto, only lasting 2 2/3 innings. 2 days later, while he's watching from the dugout, umpire Chad Whitson squeezed the Giants player, and Verlander started chirping from the bench. And Whitson ejected him and yelled, "Justin, get out of here. How about you worry about getting out of the 3rd inning, huh?" Apparently, that was the spark, and from that moment on, Verlander turned into the 2019 version of himself. Over his final 13 starts, he posted a 2.6 ERA. He wasn't just surviving, he was passing legends. Moved into 8th on the all-time strikeouts list, passing Gaylord Perry, and even put up a 10-strikeout game against Baltimore at 42 years old, becoming the oldest pitcher to do so since Randy Johnson. As far as more recent news, Evan Petzold of the Free Press reported today that what he called an unusually long first public bullpen for JV. To put that into perspective, most veterans in their first week of camp throw 30, maybe 40 pitches. Verlander, well, he was out there for nearly half an hour grinding through 70 high-intensity pitches. By the time he was done, almost the entire team had cleared the backfields, but JV was still there with catcher Dylan Dingler, and pitching coach Chris Fetter, refusing to leave until the shape of his slider was exactly where he wanted it. Verlander missed the first few days of camp for a prearranged family commitment. He told the team about this before he signed, and clearly he felt behind. But for JV, behind means he's only 99% mastery of his mechanics instead of 100%. He wasn't just throwing, he was conducting a symphony. He'd throw a pitch, check the iPad for the Statcast carry, have a 3-minute debate with Fetter about the finger pressure on his grip, and then do it again. And when I hear this, I think about the impact about the young kids on the team. Jackson Jobe, Kiter Montero, standing there in the Florida sun, watching a guy with 3 Cy Youngs and 266 career wins outwork every rookie in the complex. Tarek Skubal, the reigning Cy Young winner himself, told Fox 2 this week that if you told him 10 years ago that he'd be locker mates with Verlander, he would have called you crazy. And I think it's clear at this point, even this early in the spring, that JV is not here just for a thank you tour and to sell jerseys. He's here because he thinks the rotation with Skubal and Fromber and himself is the best in baseball. He's scheduled his first game appearance on March 2nd against the Braves and is already being flexed to a national broadcast on ESPN. The mad scientist is back in the lab, and with Reese Olson out for the year, the Tigers don't just want this version of JV, they absolutely need him. Speaking of pitching, tomorrow's actual game starter for the first spring training game is Kiter Montero. Out of everyone in this Death Star rotation, he's arguably has the most to prove. Last year, Kiter finished with a 5-3 record and a 4.37 ERA. But if you look closer, his potential is massive. His four-seamer actually improved in run value throughout the year, but his slider was the swing pitch. When it was on, it had a 35% whiff rate, and when it wasn't, it was a hittable spinner. With Skubal, Verlander, and Valdez, Mize, and Flaherty all locked in, and Reese Olson out for the season, he's likely going to be the 6th man in that rotation and filling in big spots. Tomorrow against the Yankees, I'm looking for that velocity. He averaged 93.8 miles per hour last year, and if he's sitting at 95, 96 in February, he's ready to lock down that permanent spot. And fans have to keep in mind that if he comes out pitching 5 solid innings, giving up 3 runs, that's not a trash start. If this team's to be successful, I see Kiter playing a large role within that success. And now let's take a macro look at the MLB. We talked yesterday about a injury in Baltimore, and because the Baltimore Orioles are facing a total structural collapse on opening day infield, Mike Ellis confirmed today that Jordan Westberg is dealing with a partial UCL tear, and instead of going through Tommy John, he's going to get PRP injections and tough it out at least. Instead of getting Tommy John, he's getting PRP injections and is out through at least April. This comes just days after we found that Jackson Holliday is out following a surgery on a broken hamate bone. That's 50% of your starting infield on the shelf. Good news, though, Baltimore's a prospect factory. This is almost guarantees a spot for Kobe Mayo, the number 10 prospect in baseball. Mayo has 30 homer power and has been knocking on the door in AAA Norfolk for a year. Expect him at third base immediately. You'll also likely see Blaze Alexander, whom they acquired this winter, slide into second base and cover for Holliday. It's a crisis, but Baltimore has the depth to survive it. And other MLB news, meanwhile in San Diego, AJ Preller is doing AJ Preller things. The Padres just signed Nick Castellanos to a multi-year deal, and if you're a pitcher in the NL West, I suggest you start throwing a knuckleball because this lineup is built to destroy fastballs. The projected 2026 opening day card includes Tatis in right field, Machado third base, Jackson Merrill center field, Nick Castellanos at designated hitter, Miguel Andujar at first base, Xander Bogaerts at short, Jake Cronenworth at second, Ramon Laureano at left field, and Freddie Furman at catcher. When Xander Bogaerts is your number 6 hitter, yeah, you're not just a good team, you're a murderer's row light. And I want to hear from you guys. All right. Question of the day is, between the Orioles' injury disaster and the Padres' new super lineup, which team has a better chance of winning 95 games this year? As well as, do you think JV is doing too much too soon? Or is his obsession over his slider and throwing that 70-pitch session exactly what this team needs? Drop your answers in the Spotify comment section. I'll be reading the best takes on tomorrow's show. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you head over to the Old English Debrief channel, hit that subscribe button, follow us there, and leave your comments on the video so we can get the conversation moving in both places. Thank you for stopping by. Follow the show, and I'll see you tomorrow for the first post-game wrap-up of 2026. Go Tigers.